Hi, Misha here, and if you saw my Romulan Star Empire kind of overview video, there were a couple of ships from Star Trek Online. Stowe. I've decided to kind of pick some of these up, mostly because I needed something new. I was kind of bored. Now, when I got into the Star Trek Starships collection, I would say that was primarily fueled by Irish Trekkies videos. I watched several of them one weekend years ago when I was stuck at home sick. For these, though, I actually got a lot of help from Trek Yards and actually Retro Tech Ralph. And yeah, I just decided to kind of dive in. I had no idea what the STO aesthetic was, nor did I really have an idea of the Discovery aesthetic, which some of these are based on, but kind of updated. In fact, these are pretty much all except for maybe one or two based on existing designs, but kind of updated for the 25th century look. So yeah, I just thought I would give an overview of what I thought about them. This isn't going to be a dive into the specs. Not yet. Just, my impressions of the designs and the models themselves. So with that, we'll jump to issue numero uno. First up, we have the USS Gagarin. Already loving the name. Of course, named after first human in space that we know of, Yuri Gagarin. And this is an STO take on the Discovery Sheppard Class. And right away it reminds me of the Centaur class from Deep Space Nine. Kind of the underslung nacelles, a very flat design. From what I've read, the Discovery aesthetic was kind of meant to be kind of flat. So right away I already like it. Now, the way these nacelles kind of fork in the back is different, but okay. I think I'd like them if they were a little more traditional nacelle. Fun story, when I first ordered these, I ordered several at once. And I received 2 of these, although I didn't know why at first. I thought maybe 2 of the ships looked very similar. I was actually lucky that I got 2 because on one of the models, I guess the package had been hit and the little prongs were broken off one of the nacelles. So that's okay, I got 2, and yeah. Really like the design, and it's actually a good size. And I've kind of realized that the STO ships seem to be slightly bigger than the ones in the standard Starships collection. It's not by a huge amount, but this is the better part of... it's over 5 inches, I would say. Closer to 5.5, and it's quite wide too. Even though, like I said, it is very flat. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's pretty light. The saucer is all metal, except for the top here. And of course the nacelles are plastic. Now, fun fact, the lower pylons here are actually metal too, but the upper are plastic. I like it. Again, I like it because it kind of reminds me of the Centaur. And I like the boxes these come in, and the small kind of miniature manuals. And this one fits its stand very well, which is good because I wouldn't want to knock it off too much with how relatively delicate those nacelles could be. Issue number 2 is the USS Chimera. And this is actually one of the earliest STO designs that predates Discovery, and is quite possibly the one truly unique STO ship on the table. It is a quad nacelle setup. Again, quite large for this small scale. and heavier than the Gagarin. Nacelles are plastic, of course, but the saucer is predominantly metal. Some of the lower is plastic. This was captained by Captain Nog of Ferengi Nar. It's an interesting thing. The deflector is different, and the shape of the nacelles is kind of different. It's not my favorite design, but I do like it, and I do like it that it's them trying to do their own STO thing and trying to do something 25th century. Remember when I said there were 2 Gagarins? Well, the reason was they forgot to send me a Chimera. So for a minute, remember, I can't see, I thought maybe the Gagarin and the Chimera looked real similar and was very confused. But that all got straightened out. So here we have it. And yeah, it's a neat ship. So I hear it has some interesting features in the game, but yeah, I'm sure I'll get to more of a breakdown of each of these later as I get time. Next up, in number 3, we have the USS Andromeda. And if this looks familiar, at least in silhouette, that's because this is the STO 25th century version of the Galaxy-class. This is supposedly for exploration and science, although of course STO is more combat driven because, yeah, running scans doesn't make for a compelling video game. And this one I really, I like the look of. Kind of boxy nacelles, but swept back here. And a nearly Galaxy-esque deflector. Still different, and it has a very prominent neck. Yeah, I like it. I think it's a logical progression of the Galaxy class. Saucer is pretty well the same, but just more angular. This one, the Star Drive, because of how thin the nacelles, this is plastic. But this whole saucer is metal, except for kind of the bottom here. So it's not the heaviest, but again, it's a pretty good size, if you see in the hand. It fits its stand okay, but I have noticed with these, maybe it was a cost savings measure, they don't always fit as well as the old collection. It seems like they might have simplified the stands a bit. I mean, it's going to sit here, it's not going to go anywhere, but it does have a little kind of play to it. But it'll do just fine. Nice to see the Galaxy still hanging around. Next up, we skip an issue or two because they're alien ships. Our next Federation is the USS Buran. Again, liking the name. And this is an STO take on the Discovery era Cardenas-class. And what's, I think, most distinctive is the bridge is towards the front. And it has kind of the deflector cut out here. And it's another quad naceller. And the nacelles are very reminiscent of the TMP era. Not the same, but reminiscent. And it still has that flat design aesthetic of the Discovery. And again, I like the design. According to the Trek Yards, the actual Discovery ships aren't quite as neat as nice as the STO redos of them, so take their word for it. Don't really know. But yeah, this I really like. Has a couple of shuttle bays in the back. This is supposed to be kind of a combat ship, a hatchet look to the saucer. Kind of interesting cut back here. The way it's done, it's certainly a different look. And again, it's a pretty good size. Flat, but fits, about hand size. And a decent amount of weight. All metal. Back here it stays metal. Isn't turned to plastic until we get... Actually, I think the pylon, at least the upper one, is metal. Of course, the nacelles are plastic. Yeah, but this was definitely one I was interested to check out, and I dig it. Kind of fits into the constellation style and all that good stuff. And it fits its stand. Again, I think what they do with these to kind of save on cost is the stands are more straight. They're custom to each ship, but they don't have as many curves and dips as some of the standard ones do. It fits fine. You're not going to knock it out, but it is a little loose. But it's not going to go anywhere as long as you're halfway careful or don't have cats. Next up, issue 7 in the collection, our next Federation ship, is the USS Pathfinder. And this should look familiar. It is a variant, a take on the Intrepid class, the Voyager. And this is cool. I like the Intrepid. This kind of has the same type of deflector here as we saw with the Chimera. The saucer is much like the Voyager, just stretched out a bit more with a small kind of dish in the front. And then, of course, we have reworked, again, TMP looking nacelles that slightly swoop down. In a way, it kind of reminds me of the Jaeger class, just not a total mutt. And while this is a bit smaller, it's almost entirely metal. This is actually one of the heavier ones. Metal. And the pylons are metal. And for once, even our nacelles are metal. Very little plastic on this one. I think the only plastic is at the very top here. Yeah. So it's actually one of the heaviest ones. And this one is sold out on the Eaglemoss website. But I really like the Intrepid. So I picked this up. I think it was either on Amazon or eBay. It's everything else I got off their website. But I really wanted this one. And it doesn't disappoint. Again, I think this is a logical progression for the future of the Intrepid design. And it too rests okay on its stand, but is not super tight in there. One nice thing about them not clipping in real stout is the stand isn't liable to scratch things much. So there's that. The Pathfinder. Next up, another 4 naceller. Quite a few in this series. The USS Europa, another Discovery-based ship. This is based on the Nimitz class. And it has kind of an interesting arrangement of nacelles. And has a little pod on top. Kind of bare bones on the bottom. Kind of technical jargon in the back. Has a very workaday, very utilitarian look. Very big saucer, though, and kind of a NX-01 style giant cutout in the front. This pod reminds me a lot of the Miranda. In fact, the ship does. If you took off the top nacelles and just made it a 2 nacelle, it would almost look like an updated Miranda class. I like the Buran, but I like this Europa, USS Europa, more. Yeah. Neat ship. And again, quite a bit of metal. Underside of the saucer has a little bit of plastic in the middle. The back is metal on top. Pod is plastic, I think. And the nacelles are plastic. But I like the design. It's kind of a unique take on the 4 nacelle arrangement. So far, it's my favorite 4 naceller in our little fleet. Kind of curious what the actual Nimitz from Discovery looks like. But I do take Captain Foley's word that STO improves the Discovery designs quite a bit. They seem to fit better in the 25th century anyway. Moving right along, we have a newer design to STO. The Avenger class. And this seems to be based, if anything, on the Jinghe, or Jinghe, or Jinghe. Many people say it different ways. Either way, the ship from the last episode of Picard so far, the Inquiry class. It does resemble it in a lot of ways. It doesn't have that weird deflector grill exactly. That's nice. The nacelles are different shape, but kind of positioned the same. Yeah, this interesting cutout in the back. We have a recessed bridge. Yeah, this is supposed to be a small combat, well, not small, but a combat support ship. And I gotta be honest with you, so far, and I like the design, but so far this is my least favorite. For one, it's actually, I think, the smallest. And for another, it's oddly plastic. The saucer is essentially all plastic, which is odd. I can't think of any other Federation ship that Eaglemoss has built where the saucer is all plastic. Sometimes the top or the bottom might be. The metal is, again, kind of strangely, the star drive. But even there, the nacelles are plastic, and the top here is plastic. So it's certainly the lightest of all of them. Even lighter than the Europa, I think. I just kind of feel like they missed the mark on this one a bit. This should have been metal. The way it is, the weight's all right in the back, and yeah. And it just comes off as kind of strangely small. That's thunder, by the way. I did not have tacos for dinner. Let's see, I think, yeah. On the other hand, it does fit on its stand quite tight. So there is that. But yeah, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that of the 8, I think I've got 8 on the table, it's my least favorite. It's always got to be one, right? And finally, the most recent one in the collection, if you discount the Enterprise F refit, which is issue 15, issue 14 is the USS Shran, named after Well, General Shran and Jeffrey Combs. Now, this is based on the Discovery era Magee class. In a universe that's supposed to be some kind of science research ship, and a smaller ship at that. It's a giant saucer with two nacelles kind of plugged in the middle. That might at first seem just completely against all the Star Trek starships we've seen. But if you think about it, it's not wholly dissimilar to the Defiant. Bridge kind of in the center. Then we have a deflector in the front. The deflector placement really does remind me of the Defiant. Now the Defiant's nacelles are on the edges. These are kind of out. But whereas the Defiant is a combat ship, and this would make actually kind of a cool combat design. Again, this is meant to be more of a science ship. Now I think in STO this is classified as an escort. So it is kind of like the Defiant or a Saber. And it's predominantly metal. The whole top, including the top of the nacelles. So it's actually got some good weight to it. Some of the bottom is plastic. Other is metal. It's a bit of a simple design, but I don't mean that in a bad way. In fact, I could see a different version of this being in TOS if you kind of maybe did the nacelles slightly different and had the old school saucer. I could see a saucer with a couple of nacelles stuck on being a cheap way they could have made a ship in the 1960s. So I think it fits in. In fact, it's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's my favorite here, but it's definitely top 3. Maybe I like it because it's just so different, yet it still fits the Star Trek design. Don't know. It is definitely something. And size-wise, again, it's palm of your hand. See, this one seems more appropriate than the Avenger, weight-wise and size-wise. Also seems about the size of a comm badge. But it's cool. I definitely appreciate this one. And I'm looking forward to the next one, which is the Edison class. So just a brief overview, preview, kind of my just thoughts. I like the STO aesthetic. And I'll actually like the ships based on the discoveries. But these are supposed to be 25th century. I could definitely understand why maybe the ship designs wouldn't fit so well in the pre-original series 23rd century. But that's a discussion for another day. But at least I have an idea of what some of these ships look like. And there's actually quite a number of ships from Discovery, even though we've only had 3 seasons, thanks to the wonders of CGI and computer modeling. So they will have quite a few to choose from at STO if they so go with that direction. I was so close to being done when the battery died. And then when I went to go get another battery, Peanut reminded me that it's starting to storm and my duties now lie in cat comforting, so I better go. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give a little synopsis here. As I was saying, I like that they're doing the Discovery designs, but the truth is, I think where they rework the next generation DS9 designs, it's just as cool. For example, the Andromeda and the Pathfinder are definitely among my favorites. As far as the construction of the models, I think maybe their best work was with the Pathfinder. Or I could just be saying that because it's all metal, and I think that's particularly nice. More metal, the better, in my opinion. So let me know what you think of these. Which ones do you like? Which ones do you hate? And again, a little while back, I did show the 2 Romulan ships in the Romulan video. And yes, I will get to the Klingon ships in their own video, I'm sure, sometime very soon. And with that, yes, I must go comfort a cat in a storm. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon next time.